all right, so you suggested this movie, and it was interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed this for what it was. It's okay. Giovanni, he I don't buy his character in this movie all that much.
Really?
He's the dead zone for me. So we get to a particular scene in this movie where he starts like crying in front of his father, and I'm just like,
Why?
ah, ah.
I'm sorry I couldn't get the job that you wanted me to have. But I mean, who gives a shit? Because I'm good at what I do, Dad. I'm good at what I do. And the casino was a business, and I ran it pretty well, Dad. And to think that I closed it for you.
Okay, we'll roll with it. Like his whole backstory in this movie baffles me. Like I get what they were trying to go for, but it just didn't land for me. Everything else though, like the scheming and the clear pyramid scheme that's going on inside of this office, and just the whole idea behind what a boiler room is, I thought was pretty intriguing. It's clear that they were trying to like do I even want to say like they were trying to recreate Wall Street, but there's no recreating that movie at all.
Right.
Like they were going for something like that, but like Michael Douglas is Gordon Gekko. You're never going to outshine Michael Douglas as Gordon Gekko.
Not at all.
So it was odd, seeing something like that. Other than that,
This is more of a Wolf of Wall Street light
kind
before
of.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I mean, I did some research going into, well, after I finished watching it, and I found out that even Jordan Belfort, like the actual person Jordan Belfort, said that yeah, this was loosely based on me, and I guess the director, oh my god, his name just blanked on me. Ben Younger, he spent a lot of time with a lot of guys like this trying to like nail the story down, which I appreciate. He actually like did some time or palled around with some people who were inside of a boiler room like this. So we got to see what the scheming and everything was like actually like from the inside, which I appreciate. But it's just, I don't know. The weak spot for me is definitely Giovanni. His acting style, the way that he cries, the way that he's so he's a very stuttered individual. Like there's something
He's
just
typecasted, and
kind of.
and when you're putting him with Vin Diesel and Jamie Kennedy and Ben Affleck and even what's her name, Nia Long, she played Will Smith's love
Yeah,
interest
I know.
in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as Lisa. Even putting him next to all these people, you know, he just as an actor, he is the odd man out.
He's the odd one. I want to
You
know
know what
how
I
he got
mean?
this role. Like he must have had an amazing agent to get him like in a movie like this with these people. And also, I will say, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but Ben Affleck is the best part of this movie
Ben
by
Affleck's
far.
Ben Affleck's this. I mean, this was Ben Affleck and Vin Diesel's early age
Yeah. Well,
before they got big. Even Vin Diesel, I like him better in this than I do stuff that he does today because he's a he's a side actor.
yes.
He's not your main character.
Nope.
He's not the tough guy. He's not the muscle that we all know him to be in most movies today. He's just there. Scott Caan, who played the other comedic relief,
Kind of.
he was the guy with the mouth basically. I think one of the best actors in the whole thing, who's also a side character, is Ron Rifkin, who played his father.
His father.
I thought he was fantastic.
He was great.
Personally.
He was great as like the judge and having the son that's like kind of a delinquent a little bit and trying to smell. Like I get that. Like, and the whole thing about the whole bike situation, he played that wonderfully. I like that. I just didn't like what Giovanni did in that scene at all. I'm not gonna lie.
He could have done the same thing without the like. To me, it was almost forced waterworks.
Yeah.
Like, have the conversation. Like, you could tell that the crying was forced.
Yes. Very much so.
If you're gonna do a crying scene, don't make it look forced. If you're gonna force it, just have the same emotion there without the crying. Because he could have done that with an emotional tug without actually making it, seem the way it did.
He should have
So
been.
I kind of agree with you on that.
He should have been pissed. Like, it should have been like an outburst of anger instead of an outburst of just like tears and emotion. I could see that coming from.
I
could
broke
see that
my
coming
leg
from
and
him.
you didn't do anything.
Exactly. You smacked me across the face. I broke my leg and you smacked me for it. Why are you crying about this? You're a grown man. You should be incredibly angry about this and just take out your frustration out on a desk or something like that. Like, be angry. You don't have to be like crying to daddy about it. And like you said, it's completely forced.
Right.
That's but he's my only hang up. I thought the story of what was going on was actually pretty decent. I will say they could have done a better job of explaining certain things, like explain to the audience what an IPO is, because I guarantee you the average person who's watching this movie probably has no idea what an IPO is. I mean, I loosely had an idea, but even I had to look it up so I would like understand what was going on, like that whole thing.
I mean, they define RIPS, but why not define the IPO?
Yeah, they define RIPS, define an IPO, or even like all of the other loose jargon that in certain situations it makes sense. So when he's on the phone with that Henry character, who's like he's trying to sell like the BS stock to, he runs through a whole bunch of numbers to try to confuse him. That's perfectly fine. You're trying to confuse this person so he doesn't really understand what's going on. You're trying to catch him off guard. I understand that. But when you have moments where it's like the gang of guys that's like pulling this scheme off, I would have liked it. Hey, this is what an IPO is. All the lingo that we're spitting out right now, this is what it all means. And they do that, except for that one. But that's very, very, very minor.
You know who I think would have been great at the Seth Davis part in this time frame?
Matt Damon.
No. God, no.
Well, I mean, you got Ben Affleck. You might as well throw Matt Damon in there too.
Yeah, no, not at all. Even when we talked about 25th Hour, seeing somebody like Edward Norton as that character would have been...
This would have been a completely different movie if that was Ed Norton in that role.
Yes and no.
Really? Okay.
Because you could have had the same feel, because I mean, in this movie, language was a character just like in 25th Hour. All on its own. Everyone had it's not as on the nose and as direct as 25th Hour. I mean, 25th Hour was like, but because it's all around sales and trying to get, I mean, not only is he selling people, he has to sell Vin Diesel, he has to sell Ben Affleck at the very end. Like, he uses all of their techniques on them, which I thought was brilliant. So language, to a degree, is still a character in this movie. But he actually is like the middleman playing all the way around. I personally think that the whole FBI thing was a little light. I think they could have done a little bit more with that to make it seem more heavy than it really was.
I agree. It's
because the only heaviness is at the very end.
Yeah, because when they approach Nia Long, it's like, we have you now, and it goes almost nowhere until it's like the end.
The very
it's
end.
Like, okay,
right.
what is happening here? Like, you get them interspersed in the movie, like here and there. I agree with you. I think it could have been a lot more. As far as language being a character, I agree, but okay, so in 25th, when we were talking about it, because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, in 25th Hour, Spike Lee did that to sell the aesthetic of New York, right?
Right.
Here, they're trying to sell the aesthetic of Wall Street. They're not on Wall Street. They're in Jersey, which just makes it funny. It just makes it ridiculous and hilarious that you're in Jersey. You're not even in New York. You're not on Wall Street. You're a bunch of nobody scamming people.
And I love that even when they go into the city, all the people who are on Wall Street make fun of how they dress. They make fun of how they talk. Like, I think that's hilarious.
It's ridiculous.
Like, you're wearing these fake suits. Like, they're expensive Italian suits, but it's like, no, that's not how we dress. That is not at all how we dress. To be honest, if you go to a high-end car dealership, that's how they dress.
Yeah, used car salesman. Yes. Used car salesman dresses like this.
Right.
Even I thought it was, and I'm not the dressy type. Like, if I never have to wear a suit again for the rest of my life, I will die happy. So, but even I was looking at it like, this is a bit much. This is incredibly gaudy looking. Like, what are we?
And they did that on purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With the and how everybody was walking around wearing the ridiculous trench coats. It was like, you're begging for attention. Like, tone it down a little bit. What are we doing? What? Okay, sure.
Right, because they were trying to be something that they weren't.
Which is really odd. It's super weird. Yeah.
It is, because they tried to make it legit. You're getting your Series 7. You're going to be doing this. You're going to go through your training. You're going to be doing all of this. It sounds legit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom. It's really not.
Not at all. Not at all.
Right.
Nothing about this is legit at all. So I wanna get into it. And
Hey everybody, Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So yeah, thanks again for popping by, and be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.